Hello, welcome back if you're new or a returning viewer. I did say one eyeshadow review I was going to do. I managed. I'm going to hopefully get 2 up for next week. Yay! So, for today's eyeshadow review, it is going to be the Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse. I love Lunar Beauty and their packaging. I mean, see my tattoo? I mean, I have a thing for like the sun and the moon. So, yes, the packaging is like me and Lunar Beauty. Yes, the packaging, like, and yes, I did see they released a new palette, the Nude Prism palette, I think. I wasn't gonna get it originally, but I'm like, oh my god, that's so pretty, the packaging, I want it for the packaging. And then I saw Allie did the look, Allie Dawson, and I'm like, I'm gonna end up getting it. I'm just gonna get it because the packaging calls to me too much. And it's freaking pretty, so I'm gonna get it. I don't know when. That's like one where I know I can hold off for a good while. But for today's, it's gonna be the Eternal Eclipse. I mean, this is a raised moon, so you can actually, not flat. It's so pretty. You do have a mirror. And let's see. Here is the color scheme. Now, guys, for me, this is a very neutral. This is more of a, compared to Manny's other one, well, until the most recent one he launched, the new Prism, this is very neutral-ish. Now, obviously, you can say, I would say this is the second most neutral. The most neutral is the one he just released. That one is very much neutral-friendly color scheme. So, I'm going to do an eyeshadow look using this palette. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Amber Johnny Depp case. Just a little bit, not too much. I didn't see Amber testify on Thursday. I do watch, though, I'm going to link their site, Popcorn Planet. Ugh, I don't know why I said. I think mostly because I might be hungry. So after this, I'm going to go to Starbucks, get food, hang out for a little bit. But anyways, Popcorn Planet, they do like a wrap up of the trial after it's done. It might take them like maybe 30 minutes to an hour before they stop their live, but they do like a live wrap up, you know, and they do like, they don't go through every single part because, come on guys, that would be a very long live, I'm just saying. But they go through like the major points of the case. And I like they do see both sides. They're not, even though yes, they're pro Johnny, that doesn't mean they're not looking at, you know, the evidence and pictures and stuff, and they're hearing her testimony. But yeah, I couldn't listen to her testimony. I just couldn't. Oh my, yeah, I'm still not a believer. I mean, there are audio tapes out there of certain events that she did testify to. And what's being said on those audio tapes does not match her story. They're a complete contradiction. 100%, they're like complete contradiction. So that's why it's just hard to believe her when you have all these audio tapes that you yourself, the alleged victim, recorded, and tapes that Johnny himself recorded too. I'm just gonna say this. When your relationship has gotten so bad, you have to start recording your conversations. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like that. Like, when it's getting that bad, you need to record your conversations as a way. I don't want to say it as an insurance policy kind of tactic, but as a means to potentially defend yourself against that person, it's like, that should be a clear sign. You need to walk away from the relationship, point blank. You need to walk away when you reach the point you have to record, because you don't believe because you in your heart you believe that this person is going to be dishonest about how your relationship went down, why it didn't work out. Like, when you have to do that, it's like, that is when you should have just walked away. It's just crazy that that's the extent that they went to on both their sides, not just Johnny, but on Amber's side too. Like, when you have to do that, like, just walk away, like, leave. Not just for one side, for both sides. Like, both of you walk away. Like, that's crazy. Like, we have all these audios, and it is frustrating though, listening to the audio in court, because obviously the lawyers on both sides are picking and choosing, like, oh, from this time to this time. And so the problem is you're not getting the full context of what's happening on that audio clip, because obviously you're not hearing what went down before and what went down after. You're just hearing this. I think some of them are like only 30 seconds, some were like a minute. I think the longest one they had played was 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes. I think that was the longest audio we heard. But it's sad. The whole thing is sad. Alright, so I'm gonna mix together Sandstorm, which is gonna be this shade right here, and Summer Sky, which is this one right here. I'm gonna mix them together and put it into the inner. But it's just sad to me. Like, it's sad on both ends. Even though I'm not on Amber's side, it's still sad on both sides that this is what it comes down to. That they're airing their whole entire relationship before the public. And honestly, it doesn't matter who wins, whether Amber wins or Johnny wins. It's still a sad thing, because you have, you know, both of them obviously have kids. Johnny has his 2 kids, his son and his daughter. And then you have Amber, and she has a little girl. I think she said she barely turned 1, or, you know. And you have not just the kids affected, you have the rest of the family that's affected by this trial. And not just the family, you also have to think about the friends who are involved in this too. Like, it's just so many people involved in this that it's a sad thing to see, honestly. You know, all, not just Johnny and Amber, but the ripple effects it has that extends beyond them. The family, the close family, the friends, and the reality is, again, it doesn't matter who wins. You know, once this trial is done, whether Amber wins or Johnny, it doesn't matter who wins. Like, there's no guarantee that either of them will have a career. You know, yes, Johnny maybe wasn't making box office hit movies anymore, but he was still getting hired because of his popularity. There was still enough popularity that people wanted to see him on the screen. And then with Amber, I ain't gonna lie, I've never seen any of her movies, but that's not because it's Amber Heard and I don't want to see her movies. Not because of that. I want to say that straight. Not because of that. It's just the movies she was part of, I was never interested in. Like, I think she was in Pineapple Express. Saw the trailer. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. That doesn't look like a good movie for me to watch. And since they kept mentioning, like, she was in London filming, was it London Fields or it's London something? I'm like, I decided last night to look up the trailer, and they're like, okay, let me see what this is about and see if it's interesting enough to watch. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna watch it. The movie's like, oh my. I, I guess the movie's based on the book. Yeah, no. Let's see. I don't know what color this is gonna happen, but I'm gonna mix together Earthbender, which is this shade right here, and Rose Thorn right here. I'm gonna combine those, and that's gonna be the outer part. But I just hope once this whole trial is done, that's it. That's done. You know, both can move on with their lives, and both can just move on once and for all. You know, let's just move on and let them live their lives after this is said and done. And whatever happens, whether they have a career or not, we shall see. But I would highly recommend watching Popcorn Planet, because they do a really good job and on, you know, showing you all the highlights of the trial clips. And also, they like I said, they do live after the trial day is done. And yesterday, what they did was they only let subscribers talk in the chat, so you have to be subscribed. But once you're subscribed, yesterday they did they put a Zoom chat link. There's a pickup on the pants, just so you know. And if you wanted to be on air, or let's say you did want to be on air per se, then they would block the camera portion, the visual, and they just could be on air via audio. And there were a lot of victims of DV and SA that came forward and, you know, very bravely talked about their story, what they went through. And when I saw that, it's like, honestly, you compare, you know, how, when they were talking about their stories and their trauma, you know, how they didn't go into detail, but they went into enough detail, you know, what they went through. And, you know, when they were reliving that trauma by telling their story, you see a major difference between their facial expression and how they told their story, and physiologically the changes in them when they were recounting this very traumatic story. And then I thought, okay, let's compare it to Amber. And I'm sorry, but it's hard to believe her story, because when you see these women and you heard these women's stories and how you see their physical reaction, their facial expression, how it changes when they're reliving such a traumatic event in their lives, or multiple events in their lives. And Amber is so calm and composed when she's recounting these alleged, you know, horrific moments of of being a victim of Johnny. It's like, it gives you doubt, like, were you really a victim? Because when you see these women and you hear their stories and how it affects them just trying to tell their story, it does lend itself to like, I don't know if she's a real victim or not. Alright, I'm going to put the shimmer shade Desert Sky right here in the middle. But it does lend itself to doubt, like whether Amber was truly a victim. And the people that called in and, you know, were brave enough to tell their story, one thing they did have in common is that they were mad about her testimony. Because they felt like she was doing a discredit. Like, they did not want her to be a representative of, you know, DV and SA victims out there at all. And these are women who went through the trauma. Now, I say women because I think it was pretty much all women who told their stories. They were the ones who spoke up. There were men who called in, but I think they were just giving their opinion on Amber and whether or not they believed her or not. I don't think any of them, any male victim came forward to tell their story. But I do want to emphasize this. Men and women can be victims. And I am going to bring out the so-called witness that Amber's team put forward. She was 100% biased. 100% biased. Like, the whole entire testimony was he is the one that's not physically, emotionally, psychologically nice. And then she is the victim. She is the one being traumatized by him. Her pronouns were she, he is the perpetrator, she is the one who's the victim. And yes, Elaine did ask the question whether or not men can be victims as well at the hands of a woman. And yes, she did say yes. But when they did when Johnny team crossed, you know, the cross-examination or cross whatever with the, again, expert, they asked her, have you ever testified as an expert witness on the behalf of a male victim in an interpersonal violent relationship? I think that's how, or I think that's, I'm not sure how the abbreviation complete goes, but you know, they asked her, like, have you ever testified on behalf of a male victim? Ever? And I think she said no. She has never once testified on behalf of a man. Now, she says she treats men who are victims of an interpersonal relationship violence in her clinic. She says she treats them. But you've never testified on behalf of a male victim. If that's not gender bias, I don't know. I don't know what is then, because that is clear as day gender bias. That's gender bias as it can be. At least with Dr. Curry, she was neutral. And what I liked about her, she once said that in her retainer contract, when, you know, Johnny and his team hired her as an expert witness for their case, I'm trying to make sure that's even, guys. Okay. That she even said that in her retainer contract, I'm not sure how you phrase it, but she even said that just because you're hiring me to want to testify on your behalf, my testimony might end up supporting Amber. It might necessarily support you and your team. And that's an expert witness, I say, because she said it. My testimony might not help you. It might help Amber, the person you're suing. So that, I would say, is a true expert witness, because she's not choosing a side. She's saying, I'm basing my testimony on my test, on my interviews with her. I'm actually meeting with her face to face and all these tests. And that makes Dr. Curry more credible, because she said that. Alright, so I'm gonna mix together Dusk. I'm just do the whole entire middle row. And let's use a Sandstorm again for the under eye. So that's why, to me, Dr. Curry is more credible, because she was honest saying that my testimony might not help you, Johnny, and your team. It could help Amber instead. And well, I did help Johnny in the end, but I liked that about her, that she was honest about that. And not only that, when she testified, you know, when she was talking about, you know, victimization and the cycle and all that stuff, she used pronouns that were gender neutral. She didn't keep referring to he as the person that is doing the act of victimization of the other person. And she never kept repeating she, meaning the person who is being the one victimized, as the one who's the victim in it. She never did that. She was gender neutral though pretty much the whole entire time. So that also lends to her being more credible to me as being very neutral, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, when Amber was testifying, like I said, I didn't really see her testifying on Thursday, but when I saw her testify the first day, Wednesday, I was thinking about Dr. Curry's words when she said that when she talked to Amber in person, she said Amber would answer in flowery, descriptive words, you know, all that stuff. And when she analyzed the, you know, the answers she was giving Dr. Curry, that she received from Amber, Dr. Curry says there was no substance in her answers. That yes, she gave all this descriptive, beautiful words, flowery words and all that, but there was no substance in the answers at all. And someone did, I don't know whether it was a TikTok that on Planet Hollywood that they showed on during the live, but on that, I think it was a TikTok, they counted all the objections. I forget what her name is, the female lawyer that was pretty much in charge for this portion of the trial with Amber testifying. And one of the common objections this lawyer had, that was, you know, Johnny's lawyer, one of his lawyers, was, what was it? I'm trying to say, non-responsive, or was it, I forget what it was, but essentially, she had not answered the question. And the judge, every single time this female lawyer was saying, non-responsive or something responsive, I don't remember the exact phrase, the judge would sustain, say, and side with them, agreeing with them that she was not responding to the question. She wasn't actually answering the question that Elaine, and this is on the direct examination, direct cross, the direct questioning. We're not even on Johnny's side yet, on the cross. Put mascara. I'm going to use ColourPop's Act Natural Defying Mascara in brown. But even the judge agreed, like, and she would sustain the objection. So that tells you right there, like, that brought back to memory what Dr. Curry said about how when Amber would answer Dr. Curry's questions, she used all these beautiful descriptive words, but never actually answered the question. And here you have on Amber's direct questioning by her lawyers, by Elaine, and it's happening. Even the lawyer is saying that, even the lawyer and judge are agreeing that, Amber, you're not answering the question that your attorney, Elaine, is asking you. Because when you compare Johnny's direct examination, or, you know, questioning by his lawyers versus Amber's, yes, both Johnny and Amber are giving very long answers. I will admit that. They're long answers, to say the least. Where are you? Use Lorella's Matte Setting Mist. And when you compare Johnny's testimony, yes, like I said, they are giving very long answers to the question, but the difference is that with Johnny, when he was testifying, he was answering the questions. I mean, in a very long way, yes. Very drawn out explanation, but nonetheless, he answered the question. And the judge never once sustained his answers because he was non-responsive, or whatever the technical term she had used. The Johnny's attorney used when Amber wasn't answering the questions, whatever term she used. That wasn't happening with Johnny at all. So that's one way you also compare it. It's like you have to measure how are they both doing it. As of right now, Amber's not doing good on her testimony because she's not answering her questions, really. And this is on the direct questioning by the attorney Elaine. We're not even talking about the cross yet, so I don't know. I'm just saying, if Amber wants a shot at winning this case, she needs to really start answering the questions that that they're being asked of you once and for all. And one thing, I'm sorry, but I can't agree with this. Stop bringing in his children, especially Lily Rose. She loves to bring in Lily Rose into her answers. They have to keep repeating to her, ma'am, you cannot say what you think Lily Rose or, you know, his daughter say. You have to stick to what your answer and what you know. And they had to keep reminding her over and over again, like, hello. So, I mean, to me, Johnny, from how it's going with the questioning and all that stuff, I see Johnny's winning. But again, you don't know how the jurors seeing this. So we're going to see how this unfolds. You know, we shall see how everything unfolds, how she does when court date comes back, because there's no court next week at all. So we shall see. Alright, this is the final look, guys. This is as neutral as it gets for me. That is for sure. I just wanted to try this palette. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little difficult for me to choose which palette, but I decided to use this because I got this in the mystery box. When Manny did his 3 different mystery boxes, I got this. So I'm like, okay. But what do I think about the Lunar Eclipse? I mean, you can see for yourself, very pigmented. And honestly, I would say this is still very neutral friendly, because you have, like, you saw the whole roll I did. This is a neutral, very, I mean, this might not be the traditional neutral look because there are probably people who say like, okay, that's neutral, but that's still too much. I just like doing my looks like this. So, but the whole entire roll that I use, you can easily create an everyday soft neutral look. So that's why I say this is probably the second most neutral friendly palette he has in his collection right now. And then you have the other two rows where you have the pop of colors and you still have your neutral shimmery browns, and then the third row where you have more colorful shimmers. So if you want to dive into color, you have the option of diving into color in this palette. So this is why I like this. Like, if you're in the middle where you still want to stay in your comfort zone of a neutral look, but maybe you want to put in that pop of color here and there, you know, wherever you want to put it at, it's here. So I would say this is definitely a good middle ground between oh, my brain. I need to eat, guys. Between, you know, neutral friendly for the people who love their browns. I'm not one of them, but hey, I know there are people out there who loves that. But then they want to experiment with the color. They have the option here. So that's why I like it. I would recommend it. The formula is great, like always. That's one thing about Annie you can't complain, is the formula. There is pickup in the pan, but it's not a lot. I think I reviewed one other, I'm trying to remember if I reviewed another palette of his, and I think there was one other palette I reviewed that did have a lot more pickup, so this has very little pickup, so that's what I like about that. Pickup, I'm not sure what the technical word is, but I would recommend it. Now, I'm a tiny non-existent YouTuber, so I have no discount codes, but Allie Dawson has a discount code. I think it's just Allie. I think it's Allie. I think that's the discount code. And you get 10% off. So, but I think she said that they don't work on bundles. So let's say they still have the bundle for the Lunar Eclipse palette. You can't use the code because they already heavily discounted the bundle already. But let's say you just want the eyeshadow palette, it does work on individual items. So use the code Allie if you want 10% off on your order. But honestly, I think when they had their Black Friday sale, I think it was like 20% off or 30, something like that. And I think this is one of them. So if you're more patient, then I would say wait for the Black Friday sale. See if they do like a 20-30% off discount, and more than likely this will be on sale, so you can save more money. But yeah, you will definitely see me do a future review on the Nude Prism palette. Just not right now. That's something I can hold off. And definitely will try that out. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. You enjoyed my little talk about the trial. I'm trying to give you more an objective analysis of it from my perspective. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, or if you want a thumbs it down, that's perfectly fine. Engagement on my video, whatever it may be. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.